Hello everyone, Richard here with more Ultimate Mode. I've decided to replay the Grand Campaign in Ultimate Mode because Bricata has clearly shown that there's a lot more that's possible. He's shown that there's so much more that's possible that it's inspired me to try again, and I wanted to show you um, any new tricks I discovered. I've found that I can push things a little bit more. Um, and I actually got a decisive at Warsaw. And it turns out I don't actually think it's that hard, but you have to. I think I had a core in mind and it was the right idea. Um, I think Bricata has the same idea, but he didn't. He's not going to execute this strategically. Or I should say he's not going to approach this the right way strategically. And it's a little deceptive for me to say that because what I'm actually going to do is a cute little trick that's going to make life a lot easier for me. And Bricata is going to try to do the same thing but the hard way. And I'll get to that trick at Warsaw. And I think it's going to make Bricata bang his head on his desk when he realizes what the trick is. But anyway, I wanted to show Poznan. I did actually manage to grab the airfield. I want to talk a lot about this scenario because I actually found reloads were necessary a lot in the first 3 turns, regardless of whether I copied Bricata's moves. So if you ever try this, expect to reload the first 3 turns quite frequently. It doesn't really matter what you do. I must have a seed that's just not favorable to me. But after the first 3 turns, there's only really one spot I think you might have to reload. But that's a spot that Bricata's aware of. It involves the tank being next to the final objective, and if the artillery hits you too hard, it causes some problems. This was already a problem. Just taking out the anti-aircraft gun. I've had situations where the scout whiffs. I've had situations where the tactical bomber doesn't do any damage, where I get no suppression. Having the fighter and fighter bomber there is not helpful if it's above 2 strength. And that can happen. So it's just something I'll point out. I never have a problem with this anti-tank for some reason, but in theory, you might not kill it. But I think it takes a lot of bad luck. So I actually was trying to damage that here. If you don't kill the anti-tank there, you can send a tank ahead. This tank can go kill it. I've had to do that before, and it always works. So getting rid of the anti-tank is usually not a problem. This is setting up the fighter trap. I put the fighter here. You may have to reload for that. I had to reload for this because the fighter crushed my fighter. So I set an ambush, and the other fighter destroyed my fighter. So, like, it didn't happen when Bricata played, and it didn't happen the first time I tried it, but it happened in this particular run. I had to reload that. I also reloaded here because I want to show a new trick that I've actually been aware of for a while, but I never see anyone use it. I also had to reload here because I couldn't kill the anti-tank. I actually find frequently killing the anti-tank is extremely difficult. Like, your Stuka whiffs a lot. Your artillery whiffs a lot. I've had the scout whiff. Because the thing is, because my units are inexperienced and because of the Manstein effect, the dice rolls don't favor you at all. So I think in the early war, the reloads are necessary. You're going to be doing that a lot because you're just not going to have that high initiative, and you're not comparing the same unit strength as well. So they get more dice rolls with more unit value, right? So it causes you to have to reload frequently. Now, I didn't have to reload here at all. This worked out fine. Actually, after turn 3, it's pretty smooth sailing on Poznan. Because Bricata shows you the way to do it. This is a beautiful trap. Now, it doesn't work out quite like this. So you can set an ambush with a fighter bomber with a fighter protecting it. And I want to use this trick if I can in the war. Because it's a devastating trap if you can get away with it, especially if you have something like Helmet Lent. So the biggest problem with Helmet Lent is that later in the war, that initiative stat isn't helpful. But imagine if you could ambush a fighter with Helmet Lent that caps the initiative of the fighters. I think Helmet Lent with a fighter protecting it would do a lot of damage, and it could help clear out the air quicker. Oh, and I have a coup de grace in this scenario that's beautiful, and it was absolutely necessary for me to do what I wanted to do for Danzig. And I'll show you you'll see quickly what I did. So you damage these units as much as possible so they don't kill your units. That was something that was Bricata once again showed the way. Next, you take your artillery, you hit the anti-aircraft immediately. You're going to see me pull all kinds of shenanigans here. I don't care about my anti-tank. This is not a unit I plan on keeping. And once again, I go after that anti-aircraft gun. So if you get rid of the anti-aircraft gun, it makes life easier for you. And I can even fly my fighter over there. And then I used the artillery to close around it. So, like, oh, it's so diabolical what I did. So that anti-aircraft gun's dead. Thankfully, I don't care that there's a lot of damage being done to those units. That's right, I have to send the artillery up there. That's bait for the anti-air. So yeah, I actually took a big hit here, but you might have to reload. I had to reload. You'll see in a second why. So Rudel took a major beating for me, but it's Rudel, so I don't care. Because of the fact the anti-aircraft gun's gone, you can de-entrench that infantry with planes. And since most of your artillery is over in this region anyway, that's kind of helpful. So it's actually easier to kill the anti-aircraft gun and then take Poznan. I think that's counterintuitive to most people, but I'm going to show pretty decisively why that's the case. And then I accidentally discovered the coup de grace of this scenario. You'll see in a second. Well, you'll see in turn 9. Because I overwhelm Poznan so quickly, it allows me to flood to Conan. And you'll see what I'm up to. Because de-entrenching that infantry is really going to go quick. Because there's no anti-aircraft gun. So then I pull this trick off. Or it could work in theory, at least. In case that tank attacked me. So this was scary. I had to reload here because it actually killed my tank, that artillery. So it's a little, this is a little scary, but I made it work. And I used it against the AI. You'll see. But most of the time you don't have to reload, but if you get some really bad hits, that tank can go down, so. And there's nothing you can do about that. That's just the RNG. One of the things I'm wondering about, you'll see this used a lot. You park vulnerable units next to victory hexes of other enemy units. And I wonder if they put that feature in for Guderian. Because, like, think about all these crazy things that I'm doing to get decisive victories or victories. It's extremely reckless and is not good strategic warfare. I'm just exploiting AI behavior. But I wonder if they do that so you have a chance on something like Guderian. Because of the fighters, I am really digging this out. In fact, this has no entrenchment. And I don't think you need to reload here. It would take something pretty spectacular. So now I have to work on that infantry. And thank God I got a decent hit there. I did not have to reload there, but I could easily imagine it happening. And there's my tank. Now, I walked the artillery around here. This is what's going to set up the coup de grace. Or the coup de grace, however you say it. I'm very proud of what I'm going to pull off here. And it only works if the artillery goes here. Admittedly, that was bad luck, but that's okay. And it didn't matter if they killed my tank at that point. I really like how I'm running out of artillery on turn 9. It's great. So the first thing that I did that was good is I forced a surrender here. Then I had a really weak tank. So that forced that to surrender, and I got 9 prestige. That was perfectly suppressed, so my 1 strength tank took it out. And I got 13 prestige. So I got 22 prestige there in the end. That was nice. So I wiped every unit off the map except for 2 garrison units in the middle. This is the most dominant performance of Poznan ever shown, and I don't think you can do better outside of slightly more prestige or less damage. So as you can see, I took a lot of beatings. Like, I don't care about this, I don't care about this, or this, or this. So what sucked was 4 was lost here, and a couple here. But I took everything except for this. So I have 546 prestige, which I needed to do Danzig, which I will show next. So anyway, total domination on Poznan. And this is probably the full limit on this scenario, I think. Until next time, Richard out.